The silver river cut through the landscape like a silver knife, winding between ancient rocks and dense vegetation. Charlie observed the crystal-clear water, remembering his grandfather's stories about the mysteries that inhabited those banks. His father, Paul, was a practical man, an agricultural technician who dedicated his life to working the land. His mother, Mary, a teacher at the local school, always tried to balance her husband's rigidity with her more delicate sensitivity. "Don't get too close to the river," Paul constantly warned. "The waters of Silver River hold secrets we shouldn't disturb." But Charlie, at 15, was too curious to simply obey. His adventurous spirit compelled him to explore every corner of the rural property, defying his family's constant warnings. That summer afternoon, the heat was suffocating. The vegetation seemed to vibrate with heavy silence. It was then, for the first time, that Charlie felt something different. An invisible gaze observing him, something that went beyond simple curiosity. The black horse was there, motionless, on the other side of the river. Its eyes, black as coal, fixed on him with an almost human intensity. Charlie felt a shiver run down his spine. "Can you see me?" he whispered, not expecting an answer. The horse didn't move. It remained like a living statue, defying the boy's understanding. Mary called him for lunch. When Charlie turned around for a brief moment, the horse had disappeared. Was it just his imagination? The family gathered at the table discussed plans for the next harvest. Paul talked about economic difficulties, about how every penny needed to be carefully calculated. "We need to be vigilant," he said. "The land doesn't forgive carelessness." Charlie looked out the window, his thoughts still on the river, on the mysterious horse. Something told him his life was about to change forever. Little did he know how right he was. The following week was marked by a strange restlessness. Charlie couldn't get the image of the black horse out of his head. During the day, he helped his father with farm chores, but his mind always wandered to the river and its mysteries. Mary noticed the change in her son. His gaze was different, as if he held a secret that struggled to be revealed. "Is everything all right, son?" she asked. One night as they prepared dinner, Charlie hesitated. How could he explain something he didn't even fully understand himself? "Just thinking about school," he lied. Paul commented on the rumors in town. There were talks of wild horses being seen in the region, animals that escaped from nearby farms, or simply lived on the edges of the forest. "They're just legends," he said. "Wild animals don't survive long around here." But Charlie knew there was something more. At night, lying in his room, he heard strange sounds coming from the forest. Distant neighs, something that seemed to be calling him. On the weekend, he decided to explore the river again. The water shimmered under the sun, inviting and dangerous at the same time. That's when he saw it again. The black horse was on the other side, partially hidden among the trees. This time it seemed closer, as if it wanted to be seen. Something inside Charlie propelled him. Without thinking, he began to cross the river, feeling the strong current against his legs. That's when everything happened. The ground gave way. The water completely enveloped him. The river's force pulled him away from the bank, spinning him in a whirlpool of foam and panic. His screams were muffled by the sound of water. Death seemed near, but something was watching him. The black horse plunged into the water with tremendous force. His fate was about to change forever. The rescue happened in a matter of seconds. The powerful hooves of the black horse cut through the current with superhuman strength. Charlie, exhausted and terrified, clung to the animal's mane, feeling the rough texture of the wet hair. When they finally reached the shore, the boy collapsed, onto the damp earth, panting and shaking. The horse remained by his side, looking at him with an intensity that went beyond human understanding. "Who are you?" Charlie murmured. Thunder, as Charlie instinctively called him, didn't move. His black eyes seemed to contain ancient stories, secrets that no one had ever told. The surrounding forest seemed different. Strange sounds echoed among the trees. Fresh footprints marked the muddy ground, traces of something moving silently. Twilight fell quickly. With darkness came the sounds of the forest. First a distant howl, then another, closer. Coyotes emerged from the shadows, bright eyes fixed on Charlie. The air became electric. Thunder advanced, transforming into a fierce guardian. The coyotes, surprised by the horse's determination, hesitated. A tense dance was established, predators versus protector. A sharp crack echoed when one of the beasts tried to attack, but Thunder was faster, dodging at the last moment and driving away the coyotes with overwhelming force. Charlie watched, not fully understanding what was happening. Something about Thunder was different. He wasn't just a horse, but something more. The night was long. The biting cold turned every shadow into a potential danger. Charlie remained close to Thunder, feeling a strange comfort in his presence. When the first ray of sunlight filtered through the leaves, a new threat emerged. Man appeared on the horizon, carrying a lasso and an expression of greed. "This horse is worth a fortune," he said, preparing to capture Thunder. Charlie knew he had to act. His life and Thunder's depended on what would happen in the next moments. Fate was about to test the limits of his courage. The man advanced. With the lasso, his movements calculated. Thunder backed away, his muscles tense like springs ready to release. Charlie, in a protective impulse he didn't know he possessed, placed himself between the horse and the intruder. "You won't take him!" he shouted, his voice echoing through the woods. The man laughed, a harsh sound that cut through the morning silence. "Foolish boy, this isn't yours. This horse is worth more than your entire farm." Paul, his father, had always said that life was made of difficult choices. At that moment, Charlie understood the true meaning of those words. Thunder reacted first. With a neigh that seemed to contain all the fury of nature, he charged against the man. The scene was surreal. A boy and a horse united against an intruder. The man staggered, clearly surprised by the determination of both. Charlie seized the moment of hesitation to pull Thunder. "We need to flee," he whispered. The escape began at that instant. They crossed the dense forest, branches scratching Charlie's face, Thunder moving with impressive agility. Behind them, they could hear the pursuers' footsteps. Mary, at home, was already desperate. Paul was organizing a search, scouring the region with other farmers. "My son can't be lost," she repeated, tears in her eyes. Charlie and Thunder continued for days. The forest transformed into a protective labyrinth. Every sound, every shadow could mean danger. At night, they rested together. Charlie realized that the bond between them went beyond anything he had ever experienced. Thunder wasn't just a horse. He was a guardian, a protector. During breaks, from their flight, Charlie tried to understand the mystery. Where had this horse come from? Why had he saved him? Something told him the story was much deeper than it seemed. On the 5th day of their escape, they spotted the first signs of civilization. A thin smoke rose between the trees. The decision would be crucial. Returning meant facing his family, explaining everything that had happened. And Thunder. Could he keep him safe? Fate awaited them, with all its surprises and mysteries. The farm gate seemed larger than Charlie remembered. The house, once a symbol of safety, now represented the most difficult challenge of his life. Mary was the first to see him. Her cry of joy mixed with compulsive crying. She hugged her son, with a force that seemed to want to recover all the days of absence. "Where were you? What happened?" she asked between sobs. Paul kept his distance, his face a mask of concern and something else. Disappointment, perhaps anger. Thunder remained, close but dared not approach the house. His protective instinct remained sharp, his eyes always alert. Charlie's story was revealed gradually. He told about the rescue in the river, the confrontation with the coyotes, the escape from the man who wanted to capture him. Each word was a piece of a complex puzzle. "This horse can't stay," Paul declared. "It's too wild, dangerous." Mary interceded. Something about Thunder intrigued her. A different energy, a look that went beyond common understanding. At night, while the family discussed, Charlie watched Thunder through the window. The horse was in the pasture, but didn't seem like a prisoner. It was as if he could leave at any moment. It was then that the first secret began to be revealed. An old neighbor, John, appeared at the farm the next day. His eyes, upon seeing Thunder, revealed something more than simple curiosity. "This horse," he said, his voice trembling, "is not common. It has a history." John told an ancient legend of the region. He spoke of special horses, guardians that appeared in times of great need, animals that carried an ancestral energy, capable of protecting those who needed it. My grandfather used to tell me, he revealed, that there are horses that choose their owner. They are not domesticated, they are partners. Charlie felt a shiver. Something in John confirmed what his heart already knew. Thunder was not just a horse. The final decision would be the most difficult. Keeping Thunder meant defying all the rules, all the concepts his family had about animals and property. But fate had other plans. In the following dawn, something extraordinary would happen, an event that would change everything forever. The dawn was particularly quiet. A dense fog covered the farm, creating an almost mystical atmosphere. Charlie woke up startled, feeling that something important was about to happen. Thunder was different. His gaze, always intense, now seemed to carry a specific message. The horse moved restlessly in the pasture, as if waiting for something. John, the neighbor who had told the ancient story, returned to the farm that morning. His eyes had a special gleam as he observed Thunder. "There's much I can't tell you," he said to Charlie, discreetly moving away from the others. The story that John began to reveal was complex. He spoke of a special lineage of horses, guardians of an ancestral tradition that dated back to the first inhabitants of the region. They weren't common animals, but beings with a deep connection to nature. "Your grandfather," John revealed, knew this story. He knew more than he let on. Paul, initially skeptical, began to pay attention. Mary listened to every word with a mixture of fascination and disbelief. Thunder seemed to understand every word. His movements were calculated, his presence almost palpable. That's when John brought an ancient object, a bronze medallion with Native American symbols. As he brought it close to Thunder, something extraordinary happened. The horse neighed softly, his eyes shining with an almost superhuman intensity. The medallion seemed to resonate with his energy. "This medallion," John explained, "belonged to the first guardians. It chooses its bearer, not the other way around." Charlie felt something change. A connection that went beyond normal understanding was established between him and Thunder. Paul, for the first time, seemed to understand that there was something greater than simply a wild horse. "How is this possible?" he asked, his voice trembling slightly. John smiled. "Some secrets," he said, "are greater than our capacity to understand." The farm seemed different at that moment. An ancient energy enveloped it, as if untold stories finally found a voice. But the biggest secret was yet to come. A secret that would completely change everyone's understanding of Thunder, Charlie, and the very history of the region. Night was approaching, laden with mysteries and revelations. John's revelation had left everyone stunned. Mary prepared coffee, her hands trembling slightly. Paul remained silent, processing information that seemed to challenge his entire understanding of the world. Charlie observed Thunder, noticing details that had gone unnoticed before. The horse wasn't just an animal, it was a being with an almost human intelligence. John brought more documents, ancient maps, expedition records, accounts from Native Americans that spoke of guardian horses. Each paper seemed to tell a different story, but with a common thread. "These horses," he explained, "don't choose their owner by chance. There's an ancestral connection, a protection mission that passes from generation to generation." A detail caught Charlie's attention. In one of the oldest documents, there was a drawing that exactly represented Thunder, the same intense gaze, the same majestic posture. "How is this possible?" Charlie asked. John smiled. "Some say they are spirits of nature. Others, that they are guardians of an ancient tradition. The truth is beyond what our eyes can see." Night fell quickly. A distant thunder echoed, as if nature itself confirmed John's words. That's when something unexpected happened. Thunder began to move strangely. His movements were precise, almost as if he were responding to an invisible call. Charlie felt an inexplicable connection. It was as if he could hear the horse's thoughts. Paul, who had always been skeptical, couldn't take his eyes away. Something was happening that went beyond any scientific explanation. Mary brought an old family photograph. When she placed it near Thunder, the horse neighed softly. In the image was Charlie's great-grandfather, a man who, according to family stories, had a special connection with nature. "He also had this ability," John murmured. the ability to communicate with the spirits of the earth. Charlie felt a shiver. His connection with thunder wasn't something new. It was something that came from generations. A family secret was about to be completely revealed, a secret that would forever change everyone's understanding of their family, of thunder, of the very nature of reality. The night promised more revelations. The night advanced, laden with mysteries. John brought an old chest covered in dust that had belonged to Charlie's great-grandfather. No one had opened it for decades. With slow movements, Paul removed the rusty padlock. The chest creaked as it opened, releasing a smell of old paper and kept secrets. Inside, they found something surprising, a detailed diary, old letters, and a set of objects that seemed to have their own history. Drawings of horses, maps of the region, notes written in a language that mixed English with Native American symbols. John began to translate some excerpts. Charlie's great-grandfather wasn't just an ordinary farmer. He was a guardian, someone chosen to protect not only the land, but an ancestral tradition that had been passed down from generation to generation. There are moments, John read, when nature chooses its messengers. Not everyone is prepared to understand. Thunder remained close, as if each word from the diary reconnected him with something deep and ancient. Mary discovered something even more impressive. Among the documents there was a sealed letter addressed specifically to Charlie. It was marked to be opened only when the boy turned exactly 15, the age he was now. With trembling hands, Charlie opened the envelope. The letter revealed a family secret that would change everything. His great-grandfather had been chosen to protect an ancestral knowledge about the connection between humans and nature. Thunder wasn't just a horse. He was the guardian of this tradition, waiting for the true heir. "You have been chosen," the letter said. "Just as I was. Just as your father could have been, but didn't understand the call." Paul felt something change within him. Years of skepticism began to crumble in the face of a greater truth. John confirmed, "Not all those chosen accept their mission. Some fight against destiny." Thunder approached Charlie, his eyes shining with an almost supernatural intensity. It was as if the entire family legacy concentrated in that moment. The farm seemed different. The trees, the silver river, everything seemed to breathe an ancient energy that had always been there, waiting to be recognized. But the biggest secret was yet to come. A secret that would completely transform Charlie's understanding of his family, of thunder, of his own destiny. The night promised the final revelation. The dawn brought a different energy. The farm seemed to breathe an ancient mystery, something that went beyond common understanding. John spent the night explaining details of the family legacy. He spoke of an ancestral tradition that connected certain families with the spirits of nature, guardians who protected lands and memories. "Not everyone can see," he said, "but some are chosen to understand the true connection between the natural and human world." Thunder remained close to Charlie, as if he were an extension of his own being. Mary observed the scene with a mixture of admiration and fear. Paul, for the first time, seemed to break his barrier of skepticism. "How is this possible?" he asked repeatedly. The great-grandfather's diary revealed impressive details. Stories of protecting the land, of communication with elements of nature that few understood. Each page was a portal to a different world. One detail caught everyone's attention. There was a prophecy, a passage that spoke of a moment when the guardian would find his true heir, someone capable of understanding the ancestral call. When? "The river sings and the horse chooses," the text said. "The guardian will find his way." Charlie felt something change within him. It was as if an ancient energy enveloped him, revealing layers of understanding he had never imagined existed. Thunder neighed softly. His movements were precise, laden with a meaning that went beyond simple animal communication. John brought a final object, an ancient medallion covered with symbols that seemed to pulse with life. When he placed it in Charlie's hands, something extraordinary happened. The medallion glowed. An almost palpable energy enveloped the boy, creating a luminous field around him. "He accepted," John murmured. The call was answered. Mary was crying. Paul was astonished. Thunder remained motionless, like an ancestral sentinel. But the greatest secret was yet to come. A secret that would completely transform everyone's understanding of Charlie's destiny, of thunder, of the very nature of reality. The final revelation was about to happen. The last day dawned differently. A special mist covered the farm, creating an atmosphere of mystery and expectation. John gathered the family and explained the true meaning of the legacy. Charlie wasn't just an heir, but a chosen guardian to protect not only the land, but an ancestral knowledge that dated back to the first inhabitants of the region. Your mission, John said, is to maintain the balance between the human world and nature. Thunder remained by Charlie's side, more than a horse, a companion, a protector, an extension of his own soul. The medallion revealed its secrets. Ancient. Symbols began to move, creating an invisible map that only Charlie could understand. Each mark represented an energy point in the region, sacred places that needed to be preserved. Paul, who had always been skeptical, finally understood. His role was not to question, but to support. Mary hugged her son, tears in her eyes, recognizing something that went beyond common understanding. The final revelation came as a whisper from the earth itself. Thunder wasn't just a horse. He was the last guardian of a millennial tradition, waiting for the true heir. Charlie was that heir, chosen not by chance but by an ancestral connection that had been prepared for generations. Some are chosen, John said, to see beyond what others can see. The Silver River looked different. Its waters shimmered with a special energy, as if recognizing Charlie as its new protector. The farm would no longer be just a place of production. It would be a portal, a place of preservation of an ancestral knowledge that few understood. Charlie looked at Thunder. Their gazes met, not as human and animal, but as guardians of the same purpose. We're ready, Charlie thought. Thunder neighed in response. The destiny was complete. The mission had been revealed.